always think about the United Nations when they think about global efforts at solving any issue in the world, whether it's climate change, whether it's issues of peace and security, or global health issues, as we saw with the pandemic. But at the same time, many people keep questioning the role of the United Nations and whether or not it is actually living up to its ideals, whether it is still fit for purpose in this new century. And so it was refreshing to hear from some of the people who know the United Nations best on what kind of new mechanisms, what kind of new approaches, what kind of new leadership might be needed to take the United Nations forward, and indeed to make it more representative of the world we live in today. When we talk about the innovation imperative, we aren't just talking about it in terms of theory, but in terms of actionable steps that can be taken to ensure that we are able to meet the challenges facing our world today, and nothing more urgent than the crises that we see unfolding right across the world, whether it is in the Middle East, and how do we prevent the next horrific war that has been going on for more than a year? How do we protect civilians? How do we provide them with the humanitarian aid they so desperately need? We heard a lot of emphasis on the issue of education and the importance of ensuring that every person, every member of the new generation has the important tools at their disposal, has access to education, no matter how difficult an environment they live in or try to survive in. We also heard from one of our panelists the need to provide a roadmap for hope. How do we ensure that this roadmap can be actionable, not just in order to bring education to the communities that need it, but in order to be able to fulfill the pledges that the United Nations has made for years on sustainable development? How do we promote peace amidst so much uncertainty? Now, I believe the stage is set behind me, so this is the time where we move on to our next session. It is a keynote speech. The speaker runs one of the largest oil companies in the world. He is known to make accurate forecasts in a highly unpredictable and uncertain world. With so many of the world's crises having a direct impact on the global energy market, it is very good indeed to hear his insights and, if we're lucky enough, to hear his predictions. Please welcome Igor Sechin, CEO of the Russian oil company Rosneft.
Dear participants of the forum, first of all, I would like to thank His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar, who is one of the most important world leaders. I would like also to thank Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdurrahman Al Thani, the Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar, for their invite to participate in this Doha Forum. I would like to excuse myself in front of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sergei Lavrov, because I present before him, but he is my elder friend, and of course he will forgive me. Today, I'm speaking in the role which I'm not used to. And I would like to mention the responsibility I would like to mention the responsibility in my prediction and in my presentation. I'm sure that the remarks of the participants will be very important. The rose of desert is very important in Qatar. During the last 10 years, the country has become one of the most active players in the energy market, and it has made its way to providing resources on the energy market. Qatar's role is growing, and the Doha Forum has collected the brightest people in the world. Doha Forum is a platform that helps us to find solutions and ways to address challenges in front of the world. One of these challenges is the volatility on the energy markets. The main reason for that is using the energy for political purposes, disregarding the fact that the political cycles 5 to 10 times shorter than our innovation projects. Also, we try to provide insurance. This is one of our main goals, but it's given much less attention. Also, we should bear in mind that 750 million of people in the world do not have access to the electricity. And in order to make their way of life more acceptable, closer to the golden billion, we need to increase oil extraction twice. Also, we need to provide the economics of India and South Asian countries with stable resources. We also have to bear in mind that the demand on the oil and energy will be increasing also. It's very important, based on the Golden Facts Bank, electricity demand from data centers will increase more than 2.5 times. And it will increase 1,000 terabytes per hour, which will be equal to the consumption in Europe. As the World Bank say, the economic growth of the countries and in these data processing centers will help us ensure increase in 9 barrels per day. And the current consumption is 30 billion tons per day. Also, it's very important to bear in mind that alternative energy sources will also increase. What I want to say, that the role of the traditional oil fuel is becoming more strategically advanced. I don't want to speak as a politician, but I would like to bring your attention to the fact that the economic background always follows the political decisions, and it's one of the main reasons for taking such decisions. In the historic past, it has not been acceptable to hide the reasons for the wars. It was very important to be clear about the goals to get the new markets. All the wars have been conducted during centuries, and they had the reasons of religion and other probable reasons. Aztecs, Mayas, and Incas have known them for a very long time because they have died, more than 25 million of them. The total political cover of the war is a tradition which keeps its way to our days today, and it has become complete in its form. We know that in the Constitution of the United States, there is 14th amendment that does not allow the compensation for the freeing the slaves, which are considered to be the owner's property. And it's important to bear in mind that this is the same amendment that was used for diverting attention from participating of Donald Trump. Of course, the Second World War became as the war for redistribute the colonies, redistribute the lands, especially among those who didn't get their share. Of course, robbery of the Germany has become the reason to following wars, and the United States have participated in these wars and gave their access to the good resources in the old war-destructed Europe. This is built on the role of the United States in the world. And they are suffering from these transformations currently. Of course, it's also important to bear in mind that this neo-colonial system is Bretton Woods. From 1971, United States of America have declined their golden reserves and made it the way to impose their influence. After removing their strategical opponent, the very basis of democracy has been destructed. Where are the principles of free market, or free goods movement, and ensuring of the property, human rights, the principles of world economy, free courts, are those principles that have been destructed? Also, it's very important to bear in mind about the sanctions that United States and the allies impose on different countries. They destroy the contracts, the social security, and the market itself. Also, it's very weird. Of course, in order to bring sanctions, you don't have to bring the proofs. You just build your accusations on newspaper articles. Some of you in this hall can be faced in front of the court because they communicated with me. And that's why I have prepared my new business card. And if they asked who they communicated, it will be written there who I am. During the last 20 years, we have seen that the number of American sanctions have increased 15 times. Plus 5,000 sanctions have been also supported by the European Union. Also, the energy has become an instrument of pressure on other countries. Nowadays, we are witnessing the redistribution of the energy market and also destruction of the long-term constructs, supply chains, and it's also supported by the volatile prices and fake green transformations. The West has touched upon the Western sanctions has touched upon Venezuela and other countries in the world. And that's why Europe has been deprived of the cheap oil and energy resources. And nowadays, we see the destruction of the many chain markets. And of course, Europe has been suffering a lot from this. The things that we have witnessed during the last several years, we've seen the recess of the world production by 10%. And I think that Brexit has been in synchrony with the United States sanctions in order to reduce the wealth and power of economy. When did Noah have built his ark? Before the inundation, before the flooding. That's what the Great Britain has done in order to ensure its prosperity. However, the sanctions and using the dollar as a sanction instrument have restricted its use in the world market. And that's why yuan has become the main instrument in many markets. And also, it's very important to mention that gold has become one of the systems that ensure the wealth of the country. Also, during the last 3 years, the role of the gold in the world reserves has grown by 8% and has reached 25%. Also, it's very important to mention that dollar can regain its power, but for that we need to stop using it as a sanction instrument. In order to analyze the election program of the United States President Donald Trump, we need to see that it shows quite adequate measures in order to support American economy, to reduce their rates, and to protect national producers and protect a national market. That's why it's clear that Canada, Japan, Australia will suffer from this at the expense of China and other countries, and they will be punished a lot. Besides, in order to decrease the cost of the energy sources, different kinds of restrictions will be removed. Administrative barriers will also be removed, and the investments will be redirected to the alternative sources. Also, we're searching for the ways to restructure the American debt. As Zoltan Pozsar, American analyst, said, the United States of America, under the pressure of the total ban on all the imports, will try to impose a new financial system. It means conversion of all the American debt into some security bonds and interest rate much less than it's currently now. What do we have to prepare for? After Bretton Woods annihilated in 1981, the World Trade Organization has lost its importance. And also NAFTA has lost its importance as well. And also the Paris Accords have also lost its importance. Also, we see that in the context of in Ukraine, Taiwan, Middle East, Korean Peninsula, we see the responsibility of the beneficiaries with big potential who are waiting for their benefits. Research Capitals, Copernic Global Investors, BNP Paribas Asset Management, and Sovereign Fund of the Saudi Arabia, who have bought more than 9 million hectares of agricultural lands, which are equal to 3 soil lands, agricultural lands of Ukraine. Also, we have to bear in mind that the military companies are also very active nowadays. They are trying to gain their profit no matter how much the people in the Middle East and other countries suffer. Also, we need to do our best to bear in mind the principles of mutual benefits, trust, and long-term benefits. We are not a very big company, but we can do a lot. Dear colleagues, I would like to finish my presentation by quoting Sheikh Tamim. The goals of development can be achieved only through fighting corruption and based on the government and law. I would like to thank the Emir of Qatar and the State of Qatar for the successful organization of this forum. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Sechin. Now, from the world of Russian energy to the world of Russian diplomacy, or to be a little more accurate, to the world of diplomatic energy.